Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to another Stewardship in Motion. It's Wednesday night at 6 p.m. and you're here and I'm here. So let's hang out. I'm going to get our question of tonight. So it's the second week of the month. We've decided since the first Q&A session last month was such a success, we're going to do Q&A. So get your questions ready. Go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'll be answering them live on this session. I do have a question to kick us all off, but any questions you have, it's July, it's mid-year. I know you have some financial questions. Go ahead and drop them in the chat for me, and we're going to be responding live for you tonight. For those of you that it may be your first time, I'm Lionel Allen. I'll be your presenter and facilitator tonight in the Stewardship in Motion session. All week, this week, we actually just completed day 2 of our live webinar. So we've been hosting a financial stewardship webinar, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've been doing it now. Yesterday was day 1. Today was day 2. It's been just an awesome time. People are joining us. We're sharing information about how to build out your own personal spending plan. So if that's something you never did, I say go ahead and jump on it. We'll drop a link to the registration form in our chat so you can get in there, get registered, and get a copy of the replay, even if you've already missed day 1 or day 2. So awesome. I see some questions rolling in. Good night, Shauna. I hope I'm saying your name right. I see your question there. I will get to it here shortly. Since Shauna got the ball rolling real quickly, let's do it. Let's get right to my kickoff question. I see your question there, Shauna. Your question will be second. I actually have a question for all of you who are joining me. Again, this is our Stewardship in Motion. We decided to do these roundtable type Q&A sessions every second Wednesday of the month. So go ahead and mark your calendars and join us 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I know there's a lot to look at here, but this is my question for all of you. Now it's the second week of July. We're officially in the second half of the year. And my question to you is, go ahead, drop it in the chat. We'll be monitoring and we'll be talking back and forth here. What's one financial decision that you are confident about? Either one you've already made for the year, maybe it was an investment, maybe you decided to implement one of the systems that I teach, or just any win. Share it with us. Go ahead and jump in the chat right now. Share a financial decision that you've made this year or you're going to make that you're confident about, and tell us what is going on, and we'll respond to it live. The second one is, tell me a financial decision that you're still praying through, one that you haven't fully digested. Maybe it's your giving. Maybe you're struggling with committing the tithe back to the Lord. Maybe it's implementing a system so you know where your money is and you can track it. Maybe it's making an investment that you're not sure about. Maybe you've never made an investment before and you're maybe a little scary or on the fence about it. Let's talk about it together. Let's process it together. Let's grow as a community. I got a couple examples there. So maybe you're confident because you finally got your budget going, or you paid off some debt, or you're finally saving consistently. Those are all big ones. Like I said, maybe it's, exiting corporate America. That was something that I did and took me 2 years to kind of wrap my mind around it, create a plan, and then actually exit. Maybe it's, paying off college debt or trying to figure out how you're going to pay for college if you've got kids going in. So we got a couple topics there. Jump in the chat. Let's have a discussion. Let's have some conversation about these items. So Shauna asks, let's jump straight to our question. Thank you again, Shauna, for your question. How do you teach yourself to be disciplined with money? Oh man, Shauna, that is right down the middle of the plate, as they said, and as they say, and I'm just lined up ready to knock it out the park. Shauna, that's an easy one. You need a system. You can't teach yourself to be disciplined. You just need a simple system that you can implement into managing your finances and then consistently build on the system. That's exactly what we teach here. So I would say plug in. We'll drop the link to our community. The link is also in all of my bios, whether you're joining from YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We're out there, and we'll show you how to do it. But the core of your answer, you need a system. It's just like losing weight. It's just like starting to work out again. If you haven't been to the gym in a long time and trying to get your push-up count up or whatever it is, you just got to prepare yourself. You have to have the mindset to want to do it, and then you have to make a system that is simple that you can stick to, right? If it's working out, it's finding a place, a community, or a partner. That is always helpful. A coach, right? A fitness trainer or someone of that nature to kind of, we all know what to do, but someone to hold you accountable, but to put you on a system that you can follow, a system of exercises, a routine, as we call it, that you can begin to implement to build up your physical fitness. The exact same thing applies to your financial fitness. Someone like myself, I'm a certified financial coach. I can teach you how to implement the system. I can show you the routine. I've developed it. It worked in my life, has worked in the lives of many other people that I've coached. I first teach you to find out where your money's going. That in the equivalent in the fitness world, that's like tracking your food. What are you eating? You have to look at that first. If we don't clean up your diet, doesn't matter how much activity you do, you're not going to see the difference. It's the exact same thing. If you don't know where your money is going, then it's hard to direct it. And as you say, be disciplined about managing it. Then you got to have the structure in place, right? So just like you need a place to work out, the environment, right? Whether it's a home gym, you're working out outdoors, you're going to one of those boot camp style gyms, or you get a gym membership, well, you got to have the right environment. So here at the Minding Our Business Financial Academy, we believe we're the right environment. And then the routine, an actual system to implement, right? You probably hear the gym rats talk about leg day and arm day and back day and all these different days that they focus on different body parts. Very similar in your financial life. You have to dial in what you're going to work on and then work on it systematically and then be consistent. That's ultimately the last piece of it, is consistency. And that's where the accountability comes in. Someone like myself saying, you can do it. I've done it. I had a 380 or 320 credit score. I can't even remember at this point. It was over 20 years ago. I had, I tell the story. I had just a 380 credit score, and I had about $300 in my pocket when I moved to California. That was about 25 years ago. And I exited that state, left corporate America with a net worth of over $1 million. So can't say it was all discipline. It was really just having a system. I started out saving 10% of my income. And as my income grew, I kept my expenses as flat as possible, increased my savings rate to the point where it was almost 50% of my income. And then I started deploying that capital into assets. I now have properties across 4 US cities, 4 different states. And that's what I did. I just started saving it. And once it got to a certain amount, I would deploy it. And then there's a lot of other strategies and levers that I pulled, things like short-term rentals. I'm in that space, mid-term rentals, so I could get a higher return on my investments. Refinancing properties, taking out HELOCs, and being able to purchase more properties. So once you get the system going, it then starts to turn into a flywheel and grows, and you can start progressing faster. But ultimately, your question around discipline, I think I broke it down into those sections for you. You got to be monitoring where the flow of cash is going. How much are you actually making? Where is it going? And begin to redirect it. You have to create a plan talked about that. That's part of the routine. I can help you with building out your spending plan and then those budgets for the individual sections. That's actually what we covered today in the live webinar. I showed people how to build a spending plan and how there's a percentage for every category of your life. Yeah, we can show you all of that. It's hard to do it on this type of setting, but yeah, connect with us. Hit my links up in the bio. Let's schedule a one-on-one and let's work out something that works for your specific situation. So thank you, Shauna, for jumping in and being the first person to throw a question out there. Really appreciate you. Shauna had another question. What's the difference between being rich and being financially free? Riches versus wealth. Big difference. There's a book I read last year. It's called The 5 Categories of Wealth. And it goes through your health, your quality of life, your financial life, your relationships, right? So wealth versus riches. Riches is the collection of things. That's your possessions. That's riches. You can have a lot of riches and not be wealthy. You see that's what you see on Instagram. When you see people with the stack of money right against the ear like a phone, or they got the money all peeled up their arm, or they're driving some sort of high-end foreign car and wearing really luxury attire, that's riches. That doesn't mean they're wealthy. You see this a lot with celebrities, superstar athletes, entertainers. They have a lot, and then you see their careers turn, or they retire in the case of athletes. And then there's an average out there that within 6 years of retiring, and there's so many examples, guys who made hundreds of millions of dollars. They had riches, but they didn't have wealth because it disappeared, because it was all, they consumed it all. Their lifestyle consumed it all. And there's so many people we can pull out. I actually talked about this. There was a basketball player. We did a stewardship in motion. I think it was 2 Wednesdays ago or 3 Wednesdays ago. He was actually in an interview in an article in Financial Wise magazine, and he was talking about having 12 cars, multiple mansions while he was playing. And then he said, no one ever told me that that wasn't wealth, that that was just collecting riches. And then he said, all of the luxury brand clothes that he bought, he was like, I don't even wear that anymore. Because his name is J.R. Smith. He's a championship, 2-time NBA champion. He's now back in college, and he's on his college golfing team. And I think he's almost 30 years old. Can't remember his age. He's either early 30s. Yeah, he's in his mid 30s, mid to late 30s, I believe. Yeah. And he was saying, like, I don't even wear all that stuff anymore. I just wear my golf clothes, what I'm most comfortable in. And he's like, I had 12 cars and I could only drive one at a time. That's riches. What is wealth? Wealth can actually be attained at a lower dollar value than most people understand and or expect. The moment you can maintain your current quality of life without needing additional income, you're wealthy. I know we don't look at it that way. We typically look at the riches side of it, but you can be wealthy making $100,000 a year or less, depending on where your lifestyle standard is. So wealth is really, it's the moment where your assets, what you have acquired that is giving you cash, sustains your lifestyle without you actually having to work for those dollars. That's probably the better way to say it. That is the point where you're wealthy. Let's say you have 2 or 3 properties, you're a single person, your expenses are pretty low. Maybe you live in one of the units, you rent the other unit. So, and then you maybe have another property And so your living cost is net free. Let's say you don't actually have to pay your mortgage, your tenants are paying your mortgage for you, and you have enough to live on. At that point, you're wealthy. You may not have $2 or $3 million in the bank, but you're wealthy at that particular point. So, because your quality of life is at the point at which you don't need to trade your time for your money, and you have enough liquidity coming in to maintain that standard of living. So that's wealth. And when you take that wealth lens and approach to your finances, the Bible talks about being satisfied. Paul talked about having a lot and having little and being content. That's probably the best word, content. That's where wealth truly lies, and it usually has nothing to do with money. Like I said, it's usually your quality of life, the relationships, living inside your purpose. It's a more holistic thing. This wealth conversation. So, man, I could talk all night about just that paradox of riches versus wealth, because what the world shows us, what Instagram and social media shows us, is wealth, is riches. It's not wealth. Because you can see people living in much poorer countries than the United States, and they actually have wealth because their quality of life is really good, even though they don't have a ton of money. So yeah, that's an excellent question, Sean. I appreciate it. But yeah, dive down that rabbit hole of wealth versus riches. That's the financial freedom that you're talking about. All right, Descript Creatives. If you only had one piece of financial advice to give someone in your 20s, what would it be? Save and invest consistently. The one thing I can tell you that has been proven over and over again, even if it's just $100 a month, if you were to put away, I don't have a financial calculator. You know what? Let me pull one out. Even if you were able to put away $100 a month for 10 years, and you did that from your early 20s through your mid 30s, and you allowed that money to compound at 6 to 8% over the other 30 years of your life, you would have more money than someone who started in their late 30s, early 40s, and put away twice as much money a month as you did. The compound effect of that money would grow so much faster. So, what I tell young people is two things. Just like I was saying with Shauna, keep your living expenses as low as possible. Invest, and when I say invest, invest in businesses, the stock market. As early as you can, you want to do a Google search on something called dollar cost averaging. What I explained to you, putting away that $100 every single month for 10 years, that's what we would call dollar cost averaging. You're not looking at the market, you're not looking at individual stocks, you're buying something called ETFs, right? Which is a portfolio of multiple different companies. And all the big boys, Vanguard and Fidelity, they all have these types of stock holdings where you're buying into a portion of all of the companies on the Fortune 500 list. And if you just invest in that consistently over time, don't even look at its performance on the other side of 10 to 20 years, you can almost guarantee that you'll be a millionaire when you're ready to retire. You'll have several $1 million in the bank. I'm more talking conceptually. If I sat here for a minute and actually found a calculator, I would be able to pull it up and show you, if you just compound that $100, $1,200 a year over 10 years is 12,000, over 2 years, 24, I mean, over 20 years, $24,000. And then you apply a 6 to 8% interest rate on that $24,000 over 30 years, you'll see that number balloons. So you start out really small, but it's consistently doing it. So that's what I would say. The other thing I would say to keep your living expenses as flat as possible, try to reduce your housing expense. For most people in America, housing is somewhere between 35 and 50% of their income. So, like I was saying to Shauna, if you can use a first time home, but if you already have a job and you make enough money that whatever state or municipality you live in, you can actually afford a home or partner with another individual to buy a home. If you already have a roommate now, you're living in an apartment, apply that same strategy. Maybe buy a duplex so you get 2 units, and then you share your 2 bedroom unit with a roommate, and then find 1 to 2 other people to rent the other unit. Those 3 people are paying the mortgage and paying the utilities. Now you're reducing your monthly expenses to live, and then you can increase your savings rate. Basically take all that money that you're paying into rent, and you do the same thing I told Shauna or said to you earlier. You dollar cost average. You dump that money every single month into an ETF that covers multiple companies on the Nasdaq, or even the Fortune 500 stock market portfolio, and you just keep contributing that for 10 to 20 years, and you'll have an exponential retirement package that you can also borrow against. So there's things people think because your money's in the stock market, it's locked away. No, there's things like security backed line of credit that you could take out against your stock portfolio and purchase your own home or other assets that you might want to acquire. So there's a lot of strategic ways you could do that. But the key is incremental, as one of my mentors used to say, not monumental. Just continue to make those increments. I hope that was helpful, Descript Creatives. Um, John Burt, what's up, bro? Thanks for joining us early on the webinar earlier the last couple of days. Really appreciate you attending and supporting us. What's one financial habit that has had the biggest impact on my life? Well, I didn't do a lot of this stock market investing when I was younger, and that's why I tell young people to do it, because I recognize my net worth would be exponentially larger had I took that course with making small investments incrementally over time. So I wasn't smart enough in my younger years to do that. But one of the biggest habits was probably my budgeting system, um, automating my household. So I talked about that earlier. Creating the operating account, making sure all of your household expenses are covered, and then having that automated. That probably changed my life significantly, because before that, my wife and I would argue about finances as a young couple, a young family. It was a one income household. I was going out working. She was in school. At first, she was paying the bills. And then she had the stress of seeing the bills, but not working for the income, if that makes sense. So that created a certain friction. And then after a couple of arguments, then I took it over because I was out there making the money and I knew what time it was coming in and all that. At the time, I was in real estate and I was working in commission. So my income wasn't, like getting paid every 2 weeks. But then when I figured out, hey, if I get this lump sum of money, if I make this $20,000 in this month, and I set away a couple months of my household expenses and automate it, it relieves enough pressure off of both of us that I could work harder and make more. So that was another thing that changed my life, was having the operating account. Probably give you said one, and I gave you two already. I'll give you one more. The third was actually investing in real estate. Once I started out as a real estate agent, I remember my broker told me, Lionel, don't make these commissions and buy a Mercedes. Make sure you're investing in the same assets that your clients are investing in. And then once I began to invest in real estate, of course, I had um, decades of being in corporate America, but that was what allowed me to leave corporate America. So maybe I gave you three things because it was three different phases of my life that changed. So John Bird, I hope that was helpful. But yeah, definitely the operating account was a big deal because that was a lot of stress in my household. So and I was able to neutralize that by just having a system that was transparent. It was automated. So if I didn't forget about something, I wouldn't get in an argument about a bill that wasn't paid. So that habit helped a lot. And then of course, you got to be able to keep your bills pretty flat to be able to master that, and then build out the rest of your savings and things like that. So hope that was helpful, John Burt. You guys jump in the chat if I'm answering your questions, and I'm being helpful. Give me a thumbs up or something in the chat. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate your thanks here. Any others? I think I hit the first big three. I know I got quite a few people online. Jump in the chat, drop a question, or drop a response to my question. One financial decision that you're confident about right now, and then maybe one that you're still working through and trying to figure it out. And I'll push that back to Shauna and John Burt and Descript Creative, since I answered your questions. Help me out here. Give me an answer to my question there. Drop it in the chat, and I'll acknowledge you there. What's one thing that John Burt, starting to invest? That's one that you're confident about, or one that you're praying about? Which one? You're going to start investing, and what do you want to invest in? So I think a big thing that we hear so much on social media, TV, everything, right? Media in general. Invest, grow your dollars, blah, 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 Bitcoin, real estate, stock market, right? Annuities, precious metals, bonds, blah. There's so many things you can invest in, right? But one thing that people don't talk about is defining your own personal investor DNA. Like, what sits with you? What sits with your identity? What do you have a passion for? What aligns with your purpose? For me, I'm a person of faith. I call it banking in God's economy. So I like to invest in things that God created, like people, right? People create companies and entities. I invest in those. Real estate, we know there's a limited amount of that. I like to invest in real estate. Precious metals, another thing there's a limited amount of. I invest in precious metals. So there's certain things that are like, boom, they're within my purview as far as investments. And there's some things that just hit the blinders that I don't, what's that thing over there that people are making money on? They may be making money on it, but I don't understand it, so I don't invest in it. And one big one that people approach me with all the time, I remember when I was in corporate, I had a employee, shout out to T, she's a good gal. She, every day we would kind of have these conversations together. So she would always try to get me to invest in Bitcoin, and I was always trying to get her to invest in real estate. I never bought the Bitcoin, but she bought a couple pieces of real estate and it changed her life. So yeah, I think I might have won the debate. But yeah, Bitcoin was just one of those things I didn't understand. I had an opportunity to buy about 5 coins when they were at $11,000 a coin. And instead I bought a piece of property. Had I bought those coins at 11,000 at the peak, it would have been worth probably close to $5 million. So there's a couple $1,000,000 I missed out on, but you know what? I can rest easy. You know why? It was outside of my investor DNA. I didn't understand it. It was speculation. So that's gambling. Speculation is when you're just guessing. And so I put that $50,000 in something that I did understand, which was real estate. And I bought a property in Florida, which I got some significant tax deductions on because as a high income earner, I was spending a lot on taxes. So I was able to reduce my tax rate for over 2 years because I did some things called a cost segregation, which is a unique lever that you can pull in your tax liability, and it saved me over $100,000 on actual taxes I had to pay out. So yeah, I didn't get the $5 million, but I saved significantly dollars that were already in my pocket. So if you don't understand something, even though people are making money at it, that's not a reason for me to invest in it. When I understand things, those are the things I invest in. So there's an old saying: the risk lies not in the investment, the risk lies in the investor. So you could lose money on something and sell it to someone else, and they make money on it. You could be making money on something and sell it to someone else, and they lose money on it because they don't understand the asset that they have. Um, what's here? John, but you're gonna start. Oh, you're gonna start out investing. So yeah, like I just said, really take a moment in time to do some research and outline. Actually, write it down. We call it your buy box. Write down your investor DNA, the things that you understand and you're comfortable investing in. And you can expand your investor DNA, your buy box, as you educate yourself and understand more assets and asset classes. You can expand your buy box, your investor DNA, to include additional things. But don't just start going out there and speculating because you heard people say, yeah, it's a great investment, I made money on it. They might have already made money on it, and now you're going into it at the point where it's about to fall off a cliff. So take some time to flesh out your investor DNA, and it really starts from who you are as a person, your own core values. Shauna, what you say here? I am confident that I can create a system. All right, awesome. If you want to go through and create the system yourself, I'm excited for you and I'm encouraging you. But we have a system here that we've developed that's been tested and has worked in many people's financial lives. So I extend that support to you. We'll be glad to support you and serve you in that way. Okay. We're about half past the hour here. So let me just go through here. So, on that vein of what Shauna was talking about, like, what do you guys do at the Minding Our Business Financial Academy? We help people of faith build and implement systems to track and manage their finances. We have tools, templates, and resources that you can use to apply to your specific situation. So you have targets on what you're giving, your saving, your household, your maintenance, your lifestyle, your debt reduction, and your investing. How do you break up your income to cover those areas? We have systems and resources to help you with that. And then we're a God and people loving community, here to encourage you. People get the most traction and tend to stick with things when you're in a community of people who can support them. And then I bring along the accountability to hold you accountable to the goals that you've set for yourself. And then I show you some of the systems I've implemented in my own life to build my long-term wealth as well and create margin within my budget. And I explained a couple of those ways to create margin tonight. So here's an open invitation. Join us. We're hosted on the school platform. If you want to grab a screenshot of that, we're the Minding Our Business Financial Academy on the school network. We're openly taking on clients and members of the community. There will be some changes coming to the community closer to the end of the month. So now is the time to engage. Our pricing model is going to completely change at the end of the month. So now is a good time if you want to get in, learn for free, hop in there, take some of the lessons, implement the systems. Shauna, you talked about a system. We got a couple there that you can already begin to leverage for free. But I'm going to say get in there now because we're going to start changing up our pricing and our accessibility so we can provide the highest quality service to the clients that we have within the community. We're not just trying to just bring a bunch of people in there just to have people in numbers and not serve them in a way that is impactful to their lives. So with that said, come out, be a part of the community, engage with us the way you're engaging now, and we can all learn and grow together. So yeah, we've been going for about 40 minutes here. So oops, sorry about that. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. If you have other questions, feel free to drop them in there. Maybe I'll create some content to answer your question. And as always, we're here to serve you. I will start putting out some call links in my bio and such. So you can book a call, get a one-on-one with me. Let's strategize on how we can serve you and how we can help you identify and move towards those financial goals you have for yourself. So you'll hear from me once, and then you'll hear it again in the reel, but stop all that scrolling. Let's be about our business. Let's start minding our business. We'll see you again next week for our live tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jump on and find one of our posts that we put out there with the stewardship blueprint. We're showing you how to get your spending plan in place. Register for that. Get the replays. Jump into school. Get in there now while you can. Still do that for free as a foundational member and engage with us. And we appreciate you. We love you with the love of the Lord. And come on, man, get off this internet. Let's be about minding our business. Take care. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us at the MOB Academy. Now stop scrolling and go mind your business.